Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Gwen.
Morning.
All right. Thanks, you guys, for being on this morning. It's today was the first Saturday that this was really hard for me to get up and do, but we're here, and that's the commitment that I made, to put it in my calendar, and so we're gonna push on. So what we are talking about today, and everyone is please be thinking. And to share as we move through this. What we are going to talk about today is having a systematic way of keeping the information from the people that are not ready yet so that we can follow up with them. You can call them pre-clients, you can call them candidates, you can call them follow-uppers, you can call whatever you want to call them. But we all have this, right? I mean, no one has 100, well, I mean, there might be somebody out there who has close to 100%, but very rarely when you get on a call to share what we do and to see if it's a good fit for someone in all ways, either they're ready to go right then, and that can be because you've layered them for quite a bit before you've actually gotten them on the call. You know, some people just absolutely will not get on the call. They feel like they have to have this and they have to have that. And can you send me one more thing? And can you send me another? And they just absolutely do not. And finally they get on the call and they're ready to go because they're one of those people that has to be layered before. And then there are the others who say, sure, I'll jump on a call with you. And they're not quite ready because they're also a layerer. They need the layering, but that then has to be done after. And then you have the ones that, you know, it doesn't seem like anything you say will be right, right? You ask the questions, they give you the information, you know, you do the exploring, you come back to it, you tell them this would be a great fit, you ask them where they are on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 2, what's keeping you from being a 10? Yeah, I don't think this is for me. I mean, you know, we've all had that stuff. So we've talked about in previous calls where if we can just shift our mind and think that those people, don't be attached to that outcome, because you have to get through those people and you have to talk to them so that you can put them in your follow-up until they're ready. Everybody is until. How many of you, lots of us are seasoned coaches on here, how many of you have had people years after you presented right? Talk to them about it. They've known what you've done. And years later, I've told this story. 7 years ago, when I created my hundreds list, I put this couple on my list. And this year in January, they both became clients. And now she's a coach, Debbie. 7 years. And you just never know. So they're just until. So we're going to talk about what you do when you're on the phone with those people and they're not ready right now. So that can be the steps that we go are going to be adjusted depending on what you find out and how you end that call. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So here are now, and the other thing I want to say while we're talking about this is nothing, I'm not training on anything that is not in Simple Systems. It's everything that we talk about here. Kim used to say, we're teaching to the doctrine. Right? You can't get on the call. You can't be a trainer unless you're teaching to the doctrine. Because if you're creating stuff over here by yourself that's not duplicatable, that is not what the rest of the team is doing, that's great if that works for you. But we're teaching to the Simple Systems. And that big red bold thing that says this is under construction is gone. Oh. So if you haven't looked in Simple Systems, go there and look. Okay? And also, if you don't know that Control F or what's the other one that you search? Control F for everybody? Does that work for all computers?
And F for Mac.
I don't know.
I was having trouble with it on my Mac, but then I did find something.
Okay.
Last
well,
time
whatever your search.
I can't remember, but.
Well, if you just push Control F in Simple Systems, if you don't have a Mac, the little search box comes up and you type in what you need. Follow up, which is what I typed in today to look at what was there, because I got my stuff from the old Simple Systems that was in another coaching group, and I made all my notes, and then last actually this morning earlier, I went on to Simple Systems and everything has been updated. So please know that nothing that we talk about here is going to be something that you're not going to be able to find there. Okay? Because that's really important that we know that and we keep that going, because we need to lay that foundation for ourselves and our coaching business so that we can duplicate it with our coaches that come on. And we take that burden off of ourselves of needing to give every minute detail to coaches as they go through, right? That's intimidating. To think about starting people now with all of these systems that you're supposed to be doing and following and using and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you know, we give them a little bit as their babies, and baby coaches that are watching this, we're trying not to overwhelm you. You know, we're giving you what you need when you need it instead of giving it all to you at one time. But you all have access to Simple Systems. In our group, in Transformation Tribe, it's pinned at the top of our group. If you're on your device, it's view pinned post, and Simple Systems is there. And it's a living, breathing document now, you guys. Everybody understands that lives in Google Docs. That's a living, breathing document. So as they update it, everybody's link, no matter where you have it, if you have it saved in your Google Docs, it's updated. Okay? All right. Anything about that? No?
I'm excited. It's not under construction. That's fun.
Yeah, me too. So, and there's lots of stuff in there. I just saw this morning, and because I don't go there unless I need something.
Right.
And at this point, you know, I've been feeling like I have everything pretty much under control. But I wanted to train on this, and I thought, okay, so what exactly does Simple Systems say we need to do for follow-up? Well, I'm not doing this. So we're going to train on it, because this is the Simple Systems way of following up. So you get off the phone, and your new health assessment has, you know, we have this thing on the bottom, right? There's a little thing that says if they're not, there's a little area to track, right? That you can track them. And then on the back of your instructions, there's a little follow-up structure. I don't have the new one printed out, but it says, and it tells you, send them a thank you text. I've never done that. I know that some people send snail mail thank you cards, and I don't know if that's for just becoming a client, but just sending a thank you text to thank them for taking the time out to listen to you, to explore this, that you're excited about helping them in their health journey, and that you're here for them whenever. Use your own words. Dan Valentine says if you want to send a little before and after picture, you can. And at that time, if you don't know those people, I'd send your own, so that they get a good picture of you, because you've told them your little story in your during your health assessment. You shared your story, but send a thank you text, a follow-up. That was really cool to me. Things like that are being lost in interaction with people on the planet these days. That happened to me yesterday. I had an issue, and I was talking to an administrator, and I was very open and transparent, and probably a little more forward than I should have been. And at reflecting back on it, I thought, you know, he doesn't really know me very well. He was not from my site. I feel like I need to write a little note and just follow up, you know. And I did. And I wrote the little note out, and at lunchtime I went and dropped it off, and I got an email back that said, man, that was really classy for you to take the time to make sure that I understood where you were coming from, because, you know, we've talked about that in different calls, how you're perceived, right? And those soft skills. Best thing I ever did, because he probably walked out of the room thinking, whoa. And now I hope that weekend started with him thinking I'm classy. So, you know, it's that lasting impression that people want to come back for more. So when I read this morning about the thank you text, and I watched Dan Valentine talk about it in the little video, and that's in Simple Systems, I thought these are those one more extension of a soft skill and etiquette that people don't have or get anymore. And it's just one more layer that will set us above. Because most people who are trying to do things or trying to get people or sell them something have written that person off. Check. They know what I do. They don't want it. I'm moving on. But we know that that person is there until, right? So now you're done with that. You've done your health assessment. Hopefully you have had a health assessment with you when you're talking to this person. Now, we all know that sometimes that doesn't work, right? Sometimes somebody calls you out of the blue and says, hey, this is Bob. You know, I really want to know what you're doing. Anyway, and you write it on a napkin, or you write it on a piece of binder paper, or you write it wherever. So you need to be focused on the fact that that information needs to be transferred over to a health assessment. Okay? Because those health assessments for the not right now people or the until people, that's your follow-up gold mine. Those people you've touched, those are not cold calls anymore. They know what you do. You've sent them that text. You've started to create that relationship. And it can be either way. It can be like we said before, you drip, 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 and they're not ready, but then you sealed it with that follow-up. Or you had your first blush of a relationship with them on the phone. Then you sent them the follow-up text. You've done the health assessment, and now you have to drip, drip, drip. Okay? So those two things you need to make sure that you always do, a health assessment. And if you put that information someplace else, it needs to get put onto a health assessment. And I'm going to tell you from experience, if you have not created a follow-up system, you need to do that now. If you're a brand new coach, this is the perfect time. If you're an old coach, start now. Because you can't, it's almost impossible to go back for 7 years. Everyone's shown you I've shown you my purgatory file and my green binder and my yellow notes. I have this many, but I have them, and I probably am going to focus on getting organized with that when I have a break in November. But you need to have that. And here's the other thing that we're training on is you need to have a binder, a separate binder to put those in. You can call them follow-up. You can call it until. You can name it. Dan Valentine named his, he named his something wonderful and put a wonderful little picture on the front of the binder. You can just get a color and know that that's it. So you'll have your good binder over here where you have your active people. And your people who have actually become clients, and then you'll have your follow-up folder, okay? And then your health assessments go in there, all right? So we have a follow-up text. When you get off the phone, you're going to send the follow-up text, and then you're going to send the thank you text. Then you're going to put the follow-up date in your phone for that person right then. If they say, what are some things people say when you're on the phone with them?
I need to talk to my spouse.
Right? I need to talk. That's that ding, ding, ding. That's the number one in Family Feud.
Get my finances in order.
Yep. Too much money right now. Can't do it. Got to wait till payday. What else?
Can I look at a link? Look at some site.
Can I look at the food?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, you can look at the food, but it's not about the food. So anyway.
They don't know what they don't know.
All of those things, right? Those are all of the things until. So based on the thing that they say, that's how you're going to judge when you're going to follow up with them. And you're going to say it. I need to talk to my husband. Great. You've learned in the health assessment that he's a fireman. And he works 3 on, 4 off, 4 on, 3 off. So when's the next time your husband's going to be home for you to chat? You have to do a little bit of follow-upping right then at the end of that call so that you know when to put it in your calendar, right? Does that make sense? When would be a good time? So how about Sunday around 4? Would that work? And set the time, okay? Now these are people now who are going to be an immediate follow-up in your calendar because They haven't said no altogether. They're telling you they need to do 1 or 2 more things. Now, remember, people hate to say no. They hate it. They will tell you, I need to stand on my head. I need to go to Africa. I'll call you when I get back, right? They'll tell you anything to not have to tell you no. So again, these are those soft skills. You have to, okay, so when can we talk? When will be a good time for me to follow up? Well, how about the 1st of May? That happened to me. I had somebody that was going to Kauai, and she didn't want to do anything, and it was a month away, and it was like 5 weeks. We set the time, and she became a client. You never know. But you have to get that information and set the follow-up time. And we're going to touch on this because it has to go in to follow up. You have to know when to do the off-the-hook stuff, right? You set the follow-up, you call them, they don't answer the phone. You say, hey, it's Gwen. We set this time to chat. I just want to make sure you know I'm here for you. I'll give you a ring tomorrow about the same time or a little bit later. Click. You call the next time and nothing, right? So then you start to feel that stuff. Don't make it negative. Don't let that happen. Just take a deep breath and say, okay, this is their thing. This is not me. You call one more time and leave a voicemail. Hey, it's Gwen. Okay, now it feels weird. Now it feels like I'm bugging you. And the very last thing I want to do is bug you. So I'm not going to bring this up again. If you're ready to chat, whenever you're ready to chat, give me a call, but I don't want to bug you. Leave your number. Have a great day. Smile when you say it so they can hear your smile, and hang up and put them in your follow-up binder. Put the date that you did it, the 3 times you called, the off-the-hook time when you did it, so you have a record. Each time you touch them, each time you drip, you should be recording that. Because after a few years, you guys, and a few hundred clients, you will not remember. The Susies all are the same. The Lauras, you can't remember which Laura is San Francisco or New York. I mean, you really can't. So you have to do this. You have to make sure that you have that information down so that when they call you back and they say, hey, I'm ready, you have no memory of even chatting with them or who they are. You're going to be able to go to your not yet binder and find them. And that might take you a while. They might not be alphabetized, but at least they're all in one place, and you don't have to look for that piece of napkin or that yellow piece of binder paper somewhere that's folded 3 times because you've done 2 more people on the other side of it. I see you all laughing because you know you've done it. So, okay. So we need to talk about that. All right. A little off task. All right. I'm going to stop talking. Anyone have anything to share there?
Oh, gosh, just do exactly what you said. I just went through a ton of yellow, this size, of things where when I'm even doing even client calls currently where I don't have the tracker, I don't know, I just got out of the system of really recording even on their personal stuff. And it's like now, I mean, for a long time, people wouldn't care. They wouldn't ask me questions that ever I really had to relate back, but I got a new bunch of them, and I'm in my car making notes and not transferring information or remembering, and they're going like, wait, what did I weigh last week? Wait, how much? No, so how much has it been? How many weeks has it been? And I'm like, oh, crap. I don't have this carried out that way for everybody, and I used to be very diligent with it. And so there is a need to transfer that stuff. Your sanity.
Go ahead, Sally.
In the new coaches binder thing, there are those folders, and the one folder is for candidate follow-up. How can we utilize our $99?
Well, you can take that folder out of that binder and put it in another binder if you want. Very quickly, your not ready binder is going to way fill up your other binder. Very quickly, especially if you're in action, especially if you're making friends and you're scheduling interested calls. Every time you get on a call with someone to discuss their health, you do a health assessment. So easily, if you're really working this business and you have your structural tension and your map filled out and you are doing, 6 to 15 calls a week. Think about that. You know, in a month, you've got 60 health assessments that are not current clients. So those folders in this binder over here are going to go crazy. So if I were you, if you wanted to use that binder and that folder and have it over here, because it has good stuff, information in it, take it out of that binder and put it in your follow-up binder. Really good question, Sally. Yes, Janine.
So one thing I just want, just because this is a mistake I realized I was making the last couple weeks. I've had several interested calls where a couple people were people who I'd gotten the word out to earlier, but a couple have been just random, you know, I've made friends with them on Facebook, started a conversation, never gotten the word out to them. So if you have connections, emails that go out, remember to add those people to it. Because I think about it a year later with certain people, I'm like, did I ever add them to my like bi-weekly newsletter? You know, because that's a nice way to keep dripping on them without having to do anything.
Yep. Really good point. Really, really good point. And that's where we're going next.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, that's good. That's perfect. So you're going to put your health assessment in the binder, right? That's what you're going to do there. So we have you're going to send you can send an email, a thank you email if you want to. But the thank you text, I really love that idea. It's immediate. I just think that that's just a nice, soft, classy thing to do. So we do the follow-up text. You can send an email if you'd like so that they can share it, right? We've always said that. Thank you for doing this. This is the precursor to the connections, okay? So if they are a hard no on the phone, I just don't think this is for me right now, right? Then we say, great, is it okay if I keep you updated on, you know, my team and send you some health tips maybe occasionally? Would that be okay? Great. And if anybody pops into your head that this might work for, would you share it with them, right? So then that's a thank you email. That's an email that you can send in addition to the text. The text is immediate, and then the email goes out, and they've said yes on the phone. Please do that. Please ask that question before just starting to send them things. I don't like it when people do that. I don't like it when people just add me to some random list that I'm going to start getting emails all the time on. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's not my favorite thing. But if somebody asked me if I'd like to receive it and I said yes, I would be looking for it, right? So here's the point Janine was just making. That's your connections group. You don't have to call them connections. Simple Systems does, but you don't have to. You can call them your follow-uppers. You can call them your not right nows. You can call it your untils. It doesn't matter. If you're using Cinduit, create a connections group in Cinduit. If you're using Gmail or Yahoo, create a group in your contacts, okay? And neither of these ways are right or wrong. Use what you have. And in that connections group, you're going to add these people that are the untils. And again, this is not stuff you can wait to do. You have to have a way to do it. And our new health assessment has a checklist, right? For us to check on the back what we've done with them. So create a connections email, and then email group, and then send a connections email with that group, because you've said you're going to do that. And I want to touch on that for just a second too this morning. So when we are talking to our people on our interested calls, our share calls, and we are talking to them about our 4 components that we have, right? We tell them that we're going to be their health coach. We tell them they're going to get one-on-one support. We're going to use the Habits of Health system. There's this community. We have a private Facebook group we'd love to add them to. We have these wonderful fuelings. We're telling them about all of these wonderful things. You have to do it, you guys. When you talk to them about this on these calls, and then they become a client, if you don't do what you said, you've already, it's self-fulfilling prophecy here, right? because you've dropped the ball before they've gotten out of the gate, and you've made this like one other thing in their life that they've bought into it, and then the people have disappeared, right? You buy the appliance and you can't get anybody on the 1-800 number to help you. So we have to be, this is integrity here. You have to have a system in place so that these people don't fall through the cracks. You have to have a client support system, and you have to have a follow-up system for the people that you're doing on the interested calls. And if you tell them, I'd like to keep you updated on my team occasionally, would that be okay? Do it. Create one. If you don't have one, ask your mentor. Your mentor has one. Your mentor's sending it. If you're not getting a connections email from someone in your world, ask. They will. It's very easy for them to put you on their connections group list, and you will get theirs. Copy, paste. Make sure you put all of those people in BCC. Do not put all of those addresses public in the to line of your email. This should be happening. This is a good point. Should not be happening with your client support email either. And if you are not sending a weekly client support email somehow, talk to your mentor. That needs to happen also. BCC, that's blind carbon copy. The only person that sees an address is the person that you're sending it to. They see that their address is there, but they see no one else. That's really a major technical skill. That's not a soft skill. That's a technical skill. You need to understand that. People will report you. They will call you. They will email you, because some people use their work email, and stuff that they have there is sensitive. So they don't want anybody to know where they're at and what they're doing. So, okay, so send a follow-up text, put them in the calendar for your follow-up date, put your health assessments in your follow-up binder, put them in connections. If they are interested enough and you want to drip them into your Facebook group, put them into your Facebook group. But again, put on your health assessment, I put them in private Facebook group this date, because I don't know if you leave them in forever, but if you don't, then you want to have a date where you can follow up with them and then take them out, because you have made that agreement with your clients that that's a secret group. So don't just bombard and add people in there and never take them out. That's not fair. That's another thing that we said what we were going to do, and we need to follow up with that integrity thing. Okay? So I think the most important thing, go ahead, Glenn.
On the email, this is something that can sometimes happen, and I want to mention it because it's a caveat. If you are sending it to yourself and blind carbon copying everybody else, be careful if you go to forward that to somebody else. Some emails will have all of those blind carbon copy email addresses as part of your history. So just know that, pay attention to it, and make sure you don't send it. Good point.
Good point. We're telling you that now because that's a very sensitive issue with many people. So you need to pay attention to that. That's one thing that you really need to take. Don't do things. And before I open this up again, and as we end this, I want to say this too. Part of the writing on little pieces of paper, and part of having it on a napkin, and part of what Valerie said, she's doing a client call in the car. We've all done it. If you move to a point where you have these times in your calendars as rocks, it will become less that you are doing that, because you are in your workspace at home. If you're traveling, you have your 2 binders. That rock in your schedule is still the same, whether I'm in San Francisco on Tuesday evening or I'm in Timbuktu on Tuesday evening. I still have that in my calendar, and I'm focused. If you leave a message and they call you back and you can't at that time do a call, and it's in their first week or 2, don't pick up if you can't talk right at the moment. Or if you don't have your health assessments, you can pick up. But again, if you get too busy and you're not going to transfer that information back to health assessments, it's going to kill you in the end, because you're going to be in that situation. And I've been there, like Valerie. What was my weight last week? And that is not fun. You can leave it. You can put things in your notes on your phone if you need to. If you get caught, right, you can go down onto that contact and put them. You can create a note in your phone. So at the very least, if you got stuck there and you came back to put it in your health assessment, you'd have it written on something you had. You wouldn't have to find the piece of paper. Okay, and so those things, I think we've covered everything there. The last thing is Friday follow-up. You've heard that over and over with Simple Systems, right? Friday follow-up. Friday is a fantastic day. My face is proof of this. I had a girlfriend dinner last night. We were late. We talked. We laughed. We cried. Fridays are great. People are optimistic. They're happy. 50% of the time it's a payday. Actually, 100% of the time it's probably a payday for somebody. It's a great day to do follow-up. And your follow-up gold is your binder. You have your calls in your schedule, but the follow-up are for these people over here. And then you give them a ring, you shoot them a text and ask them if they have a couple of minutes. You just want to check in on them and record it on the health assessment so that when you do it again down the road, you can remember what you did, what you said, and what happened. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking for just a minute, and I'm going to open this for questions, or because you all have so much knowledge, share for those of us who are going to be watching later. Anybody?
Hey, I was just thinking while you were saying all that stuff. Again, this is reiterated recently. We are a professional health coaching business. That service we do that, and as professionals, there are professional protocols that we follow that distinguish us from other things, other people, other ways of connecting and doing business. So I think it really is, we layer that as we are consistent with the things that support professional services. And that's what we do. And
yeah.
So
really good, really good. And people talk about that. The people you're doing that with will talk about you to other people.
Yeah.
And they'll say that, you know, even if it's an off the hook, they're going to tell you. Remember when I talked to Gwen? Yeah, she called me today and said she's, you know, I haven't talked to her and I really am going to have to decide whether I really want to do this or not because she's not going to bug me anymore. I mean, they're going to talk to their people about that. And all of those things that you do, they're going to talk about. And isn't it much more better, there you go, if they talk about the good things, even if it's an off the hook, then well, she was supposed to call me today at 2. She didn't text, she didn't call. She told me we'd talk for the first 4 days, and she didn't call me. You know, she told me we were going to talk the night before I started, but she sent me a text instead. And I can't even open the video link in the text. I mean, can you hear that? Can you hear that? Here's that talk and that chatter and that tone, and they've already gone from he to here. Good stuff. What else? Anything else that popped into your head while we were talking about this?
You know, I really appreciate this. I appreciate the new setup with our binder, and I love the idea of an extra follow-up binder because it's true, that one gets just huge after a while. And even if it's, you know, I had in my mind that, oh, I should A, B, C, D, E, but it's right. Even if you can just get it in there, just get it in there so you can find them. That's going to be so huge. I think of, and then I was thinking of the people, like when you were talking about follow-up at the beginning and 7 years. I mean, we all have people like that. I did 3 interested calls with Amanda, and now she's 96 pounds down and a great health coach. 3 interested calls over 2 years, and she always gave me the, you know, I'm going to go gluten-free now or whatever. Let's see, Amanda, I love you.
Yep.
But it's good to just be able to have these systems in place and move on,
Yep.
but have ways to keep connected so that when they're ready, they come back to you. So I really appreciate the reminder.
Yeah, and good point there, Janine. We can get in our heads about being over-organized. Well, I can't do it yet because I didn't get my ABC things to put them in the binder with. I want to have them, you know, I want to have those little, whatever those things are, dividers, right? I got to stop and get those. I'll put it on my list. I'll go to Staples today and I'll get that. And I'll get those. And then I'll do the binder. And then I'll get this really cool binder. And then and you got all this list of things you're going to do before you can do it. Yeah.
I have all those. All the binders, all the ABCs, all the month, all the week.
I have
And?
a stack of stuff thinking, how can I do this? I did do it that way at first, but then it's like, well, now putting them in ABC, how can I tell who I talked to? Because I kind of want to go back in order.
Yep.
You can see my stack.
And just if you follow up with them and they say, oh, thanks for getting back to me, but my husband had to pull another long shift, don't move them to the back. And you can shift the order that they're in, kind of like when you're talking to them, but don't over organize. Don't get yourself I could only do it if.
Yeah.
I could do that if I had this, if I were to do that, right? Yeah, don't get stuck in that muck and mire. It'll drag you down.
I think the best way is the calendar.
Yep. You have to have that. And you have to have those health assessments someplace so that when they come up on your calendar and you do talk to them, you put it on your health assessment and then put them on another date in the calendar. If you want to follow up with them once a month just to find out they're going to do Weight Watchers, great. Put them a month out. Give them a call. Text them. Hey, it's Gwen. How's it going with Weight Watchers? Where are you? How much closer to your goals are you? Because you're interested in their health.
So excited to know what you're learning. I would love to know what you're learning. Something.
Yep. Anything. And don't overthink it, you guys. Be genuine. Mm-hmm. Have an interest. Don't you want to know? I want to know. What are you getting from Weight Watchers? Are you getting what, it's been a month. Have you lost 10 pounds? Well, I'm at 3.1 pounds gone. And they have 100 to lose, and they lost 3 pounds on Weight Watchers in a month. So you don't want to bash it. Yay! But that reminds them that you told them that they'd be losing about 10 pounds a month with you. Right?
Yeah, I love asking them and saying, well, how is that plexus working? I'm kind of curious how different diets work.
Yep. Yeah.
And then just let them tell me what's going on.
Yeah. And they're excited. So be excited with them. It's like Janine said, right? Amanda's like, I'm going to go gluten-free. I'm going to go over here and eat horsehair. I'm going to, whatever they're going to do. Right? I mean, there's not a magic pill. Oh, there's your sexy husband, Glenda. Sorry. Glenda told us when we got on that her husband's been on program and she told him not to walk by the camera. There he is. Hi, sexy husband. Okay, we're getting to the end of our time.
Anything? A box yesterday and I was going to throw them away. He goes, no, I like those.
Sally, you had your hand up.
I do. Well, I just want to share what I took away today because I've never really thought of it this way, but to not be another disappointment for these people because they've been disappointed so many times. I've just never really thought of it that way. And that's such a great thing to keep remembering. I don't want to be another one of their disappointments.
That's good. That's good stuff. Right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to be disappointed as people. So why would we want to do that to someone, especially someone that we're trying to share and we're interested in their health and we're worried about them, right? They've reached out. We've asked all of these questions. We found out about all of these medications. We found out about their family history. We found out about, their weight. We found out about their dreams of being able to get on the floor with their grandkids. All of those things. We're not that kind. That's not who we are, you guys. We wouldn't be doing that. If we could turn that off like a faucet, we would not be in this business. You would be doing something else. So great takeaway, Sally. Great. That's good. That's what we want. Okay. So all of these things we talked about are in simple systems. Put in your calendar that you're going to give yourself some time to go in there and poke around today and see that the under construction is gone, that these things are there, follow up, and get a system in place. If you don't have one now, start one. If you have one with too many folders, too many alphabetized things, too many things like Glenda, if that's not working for you, take them out and just use the binder. Okay? Are we good?
So Gwen, I have a question for you, and I don't know if this is one that would be on this call, but you've done this a long time, like I have. You've actually done it longer. So you must have stacks of.
I do.
of the old. How I'm trying to make that smaller. You
So-
just like when you travel, you don't take all of it, right?
No.
With you? You
No.
just take the current ones or
Yes, current clients and extras to do new client ones.
okay.
Yes.
And
To make my stacks smaller for my ones that I talk to people, that's easy because there are ones where I only have a first name
yeah, me too.
and no contact information. I obviously didn't put them in connections because they're not an email on there. Those are going out. And I've seen them because I've been holding them up and talking to people when I do calls. And I'm like, who is that? All I have is a first name and a date. And it's like, and the date is like 2010. Yeah, why am I keeping that? Right? And that's when you get stuck in the muck and the mire. Clean out. We talked about this in a previous call, being organized. Having your space organized, having your day organized, having your calendar organized gives you an organized brain. And then the 5-second rule kicks in. You don't have to wait. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do it because your tools are at hand.
Is that recorded somewhere? Because I need that call.
Me too. Yikes.
Well, I'm pretty sure I put them all in Transformation Tribe. If you don't see it, tell me and we'll do it again. I mean, yes.
Well,
I have a quick call or question. You said that you take your binder with you. I'm always leery of taking my binder with me because I have people's credit card information in there. And what if somebody, what if you lost your binder and you're traveling and something happens to it?
I don't put credit card information on my health assessments. I write it in pencil. I write it in pencil on a different piece of paper, and that paper goes into the fireplace.
That's a good idea.
I don't write credit card information on my health assessments, ever. I never have. And if I have to, I use a pencil and I erase it.
All right.
That's a really good point, Susie. Thank you for bringing that up. I have never done that. My husband has been super hypersensitive since we started doing this, that I'm even getting people's credit card information. His little red flaggy things went up that first week when I was saying, okay, what's your credit card information? He's like, what? You told me they were going to go on the site and just order food on the website. And it's like, no, my job is to help them with their first order. Yeah, he did not like that. So really good point, Susie. Don't do that. Use a whiteout. Go through your ones now that you have. Use a whiteout pen or a blackout pen. They sell those. They sell those little rolly things now that go over them like a QR code. So you can't
I
read
do
through them.
everything in pencil anyway.
Yeah, but really good point. All right. We're way over, you guys. I'm trying to keep these at 30 minutes, and we're going longer.
This was so good, though. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. So we started our Saturday. This is a great way to get going. If you're up already and you can do some client support this morning, go for it. All right, guys?
Thank you, Gwen.
Okay. Stay tuned for next Saturday. I'm going to try to make it work.
I'm not going to be here, so I'll tell you now.
Okay. I might have to skip. Again, I tried that in that. I tried to do it in that home the last time, and it didn't go well. So I'll let you know. Stay tuned, okay?
All right.
All right.
Have a good
Happy
week.
weekend.